Hi everyone, this is for educational use only. Our group is allowing our instructor, Mr. Roldan Ardines, to use this as an educational material. Okay, so before anything else, let me introduce myself. I am the Cadet Ferolino Fernandez N, BSMB 3 in UCMTC. Okay, so our first learning objectives here is to define first the sustainable development, and the second one is differentiate stability from sustainability. Okay, so what is sustainable development? Okay, so sustainable development refers to the process of meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of the future generations to meet their own needs. Okay, so it involves finding a balance between economic, social, and environmental considerations to ensure the long-term well-being and resilience. Okay, so sustainable development aims to create a harmonious and balanced relationship between human activities and the ecosystems that support life. It recognizes that economic, social, and environmental goals are interconnected and should be able to pursue an integrated manner to ensure the resilient and thriving global community over the long term. But first, it is imperative for us as we go along our lessons to define first what is stability, and let's have a contrast from sustainability. Okay? So, stability and sustainability. So now, if we are defining stability, stability is the conditions of being stable or in equilibrium and thus resistance to change. So wala talagang pagbabago, no? Okay, so, and it has been said as well that it has the tendency to recover from perturbation. So ano ba talaga tong perturbations, no? So as we define perturbations, so perturbations definitely it means deviations or yung hindi niya pagsunod ng sistema kung saan nagkakaroon daw na irregularity sa mga bagay-bagay. Okay, so when we say stability is stable, so that is a constant that they are in equilibrium, so hindi nagbabago. Okay, as we proceed to the next one is the sustainability. So sustainability, this is your ability to sustain something na kaya ba ng bagay na yan na ma-sustain o mapagagahan o ma-enjoy from one generations to the next generations. Okay, so say for as example na kaya ba niya magtagal ng ilang araw or ilang buwan at taon, and that is the sustainability. Okay, so as we discuss sustainable development, so we go ahead and define it. So sustainable development, it provides a mechanism through which society can interact with the environment while not risking damaging the resource for the future. Okay, so it's simply because if we are talking about development, as we hear the word development, laging talaga natin maisip no na there is some compromise that will happen, no? Makanuna dyan is from the word development is to develop like mga infrastructure nga bisag unsa nga mga dagkong building, so, parang ako, more infrastructure is dagang kahoy nga maputol, you know. So, dagang kahoy maputol, dagang kung maguba nga mga bukid nga naay mga natural resources. So, when we say sustainable development, definitely while you are developing, you sustain the things that we are asked at the moment, so that we are not be able to damage a resource that we must have in the future. Okay, so lastly is that also sustainable development is an effort of guaranteeing a balance among economic growth, environmental integrity, and social well-being. Okay, as I researched, there are three pillars of sustainable development. The first one is economic sustainability. The second one is social sustainability. The third one is environmental sustainability. Okay, so what is economic sustainability? Okay, so this is a system of productions that satisfies the present consumptions levels without compromising our future needs. Okay, so if we will go back to the economy, and we are talking about economy is about the production, distributions, and even the consumptions. Okay, so now, if we are talking about economic sustainability, kailangan ang process ng ating economy na ma-i-sustain in which hindi natin maiko-compromise kung ano ang meron tayo in the future kasi baka mamaya ngayon lang tayo nag-i-enjoy ng mga bagay na in-enjoy natin pagdating ng future. Okay, so we will not be able to enjoy anymore. Okay, so that is so sad talaga, no? So when we are talking about economic sustainability, we must be able to sustain the economies without compromising our future needs. The second one, sustainability, is the social sustainability. Okay, so this is a notions of equity, empowerment, accessibility, participations, cultural identity, and institutional stability. Okay, so if we are talking about social sustainability, it doesn't mean na dapat kailangan ma-meet kaagad natin yung needs ng mga tao, no? So what it would want to do is to actually give us the capacity so that we will be able to realize our needs. So hindi niya maibigay lahat kung ano ang pangangailangan natin, rather it will give us a capacity to do it on what is our need. Okay? Last but not the least is the environmental sustainability. Okay, so it is about the natural environment and how it remains productive and resilient to support human life. Okay, so if we are talking about environmental sustainability, dito natin nakukuha ang ating resources, no? For as example, mga foods, mga pagkaon na to everyday, mga sarina, so ito na to, mga clothes. So the most one example here is kanang kuan pod kanang mga bukid na naay mga nindot na natural resources o guban pa. Okay, so there are many actions taken toward sustainability. Okay, the first one toward sustainability is the poverty eradication, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality educations for all, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, decent work and economic growth, affordable and clean energy, industry, innovations and infrastructure, inequality reduction, sustainable cities and communities, responsible productions and consumption, climate action, life below water, life on land, peace, justice and strong institutions, partnerships for the goals. Next is, there are simple steps toward sustainability. The first one is reductions of carbon footprint, buy and consumes only what is needed, organize and support tree planting projects, reduce the use of plastics, patronize goods and services that are sustainable, promote environment-friendly practices, and mitigate climate change. Petition your local leaders to adopt environmental friendly measures in your locality. Share your ideas, we share our world, change your perspective, and act. Let me ask you, what can you do to solve problems concerning sustainability that you or yourself have created?
So now, we will tackle about the history of the Sustainable Development Goals. So, the history of the Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, began in 2015 when world leaders from 193 countries gathered at the United Nations to address pressing global issues. They recognized the need for a more comprehensive and inclusive plan to build a better future for everyone.
The SDGs are a set of 7 interconnected goals designed to tackle various challenges such as poverty, inequality, environmental degradation, and more. They succeeded the Millennium Development Goals and expanded their scope to encompass a wider range of issues affecting people and the planet. These goals serve as a roadmap aiming to achieve a world where all people can live in dignity, peace, and prosperity by 2030. The SDGs emphasize collaboration among governments, organizations, communities, and individuals worldwide to create positive, sustainable change and leave no one behind. So imagine the world has a giant storybook where each chapter tells tales of challenges faced by people everywhere. In 2015, leaders worldwide decided it was time to rewrite this story. They wanted a happier, fairer plot for everyone. So they crafted the Sustainable Development Goals, 17 ambitious chapter aimed at ending hardship like hunger, inequality, and climate issues. It's like a shared narrative, a promise among neighbors, friends, and strangers alike to create a better, more exclusive world story where everyone's dreams and well-being matter.
So it means the Sustainable Development Goals or SDG as a giant puzzle made up of 17 pieces. Each piece represents something important like making sure everyone has enough food, keeping the planet healthy, or ensuring the kids get a good education. So back in 2015, it was like a big family meeting where people from different countries and backgrounds sat down together. They talk about what they wanted the world look like. They realized that if put these puzzle pieces together, they could create beautiful picture, a world where nobody goes hungry, where everyone gets a fair chance, and where nature thrives. So they made these goals promising to work together to solve this puzzle by the year 2030. It's like a huge teamwork project where everyone from your next door neighbor to leaders of countries pitches into make world better place to one piece at a time.
So hi, I am Marcel Coraza, and my topic about this video is the 6 of 17 Sustainable Development by UN, and the other 11 will be presented by my group mates. The United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals aim to address global challenges by promoting sustainable development. While the goals cover various aspects, the end of poverty is encapsulated as Goal 1, which is no poverty. So the goal targets indicating extreme poverty, ensuring social protection, and promoting equal access to resources and opportunities. The overarching objective is to lift people out of poverty, create inclusive societies, and achieve sustainable economic growth. So since 2015, global poverty reduction already showing down the impacts of COVID-19 pandemic reversed 3 decades of steady progress with the number of people living extreme poverty increasing for the first time in a generation. Recovery from the pandemic has been slow and uneven as the world is precisely facing multiple geographical, socio-economic, and climate risk. Now let's proceed to the second goal of UN, which is the zero hunger, or end hunger, achieve food security, and improve nutrition, and promote sustainable agriculture. The goal of zero hunger is the Sustainable Development Goals set by the UN. It aims to end hunger, achieve food security, and improve nutrition, and also promote sustainability agriculture by 2023. This involves addressing issues like poverty, access to the resources, and implementing sustainable farm progress. Is the world on track to achieve zero hunger? As the 2030 deadline looms, SOFI 2020 to gauge whether zero hunger remains achievable. It tracks countries' performance and trajectory to offer third assessment of the likelihood of success. Now, let's proceed to the third goal of UN, which is the good health and well-being, or ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages. So promoting healthy lives involved a holistic approach, including regular exercise, balanced nutrition, mental well-being, and access to healthcare. It is essential to address social determinants of health to ensure well-being for everyone at every stage of life. Everyone can help to make sure that we meet the global goals. This target can create action to promote health and well-being for all. So first is to reduce maternal mortality. Second is end all preventable death under 5 years old. Third is fight communicable disease. Fourth is reduce mortality from non-communicable disease and promote mental health. Fifth is prevent the treat substance abuse. 7. Universal access to sexual and reproductive care, family planning, and education. 8 is achieve universal healthcare coverage. 9. Reduce illness and death from hazardous chemical and pollution. And last is implement the WHO Work Framework Convention on Tobacco Control. Now let's go to the fourth Sustainable Development Goal of UN, which is the quality education, or ensure inclusive and adequate quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. So this defines an all-inclusive terms in which learner as well as the environments for education are healthy. Content is relevant, teaching is student-centered, and the outcomes are all-encompassing, bringing about all that is good from the student educational experience. So the United Nations has set several goals related to quality education. One key goal outlined in Sustained Development Goal or SDG 4, which aims to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education for all. These include targets to ensure access to early childhood development, primarily and secondary education, and relevant vocational skills for all individuals regardless of gender or socio-economic status. Additionally, SDG 4 emphasizes the importance of improving literacy and numeracy skills, promoting lifelong learning opportunities, and fostering a safe and inclusive learning environment. Second to the last of my topic, which is the gender equality, or achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls. So the SDG 5 is aimed to achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls, or simply gender equality. It has 9 targets and 14 indicators. The SDG 5 is focused on pursuing the main goal of real and sustained gender equality in all aspects of women and girls' lives, in which includes ending gender disparities, eliminating violence against women and girls' lives. Third is eliminating early and forced marriage. Fifth is universal access to sexual and reproductive rights. My opinion about this is the idea that individuals, regardless of their gender, should have rights, opportunities, and treatment. It promotes fairness and challenges discrimination based on their gender, aiming for more exclusive and just society. Ongoing efforts worldwide are focused on addressing gender disparities in various aspects such as education, employment, and representation. Last but not the least, clean water and sanitation, or ensure availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all. So access of safe water, sanitation, and hygiene is the most basic human needs for health and well-being. Billions of people will lack access to this basic service in 2030 unless progress quadruples. Demand for water is rising owing to rapid population growth, urbanization, and increasing water needs from agriculture, industry, and energy sectors. So, the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 6 focuses on ensuring availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all. It aims to achieve universal access to safe and affordable drinking water, adequate sanitation, and proper hygiene by 2030. This goal, this goal addresses the critical issues on water scarcity, water quality, and indicate sanitation facilities impact billions of people worldwide. That's all, and thank you.
Goal 7 about ensuring access to clean and affordable energy, which is a key to the development of agriculture, business, communication, education, healthcare, and transportation. The world continues to advance towards sustained energy target, but not fast enough. At the current pace, about 660 million people will still lack access to electricity, and close to 2 billion people will still rely on populating fuels and technologies for cooking by 2030. So, Goal 8 is about promoting inclusive and sustainable economic growth, employment, and decent work for all. Multiplying crises are facing the global economic under serious threat. Global real GDP per capita growth is forecast to slow down in 2023, and with ever-increasing challenges, economic traditions, more workers are turning to informal employment. Goal 9. Seek to build resilient infrastructure, promote sustainable industrialization, and foster innovation. Economic growth, social development, and climate action are heavily dependent on investment in infrastructure, sustainable industrial development, and technological process. In the face of a rapidly challenged global economic landscape and increasing inequalities, sustained growth and most include industrialization that, first of all, make opportunities accessible to all people, and second is supported by innovation and resilient infrastructures. So 10. Reduce inequality. Inequality treatment and long-term social and economic development harm poverty reduction and destroy people's sense of fulfillment and self-worth. The income of the poorest 40% of the population had been growing faster than the national average in most countries, but emerging yet inclusive evidence suggests that COVID-19 may have put a dent in this positive threat of falling without country inequality. So Goal 11 is about making cities and human settlement inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. Cities represent the future of global living. The world population reached 8 billion on 2022, over half living in urban areas. This figure is only expected to rise, with 70% of people expected to live in cities by 2050. Approximately 1.1 billion people currently live in slum or slum-like conditions in cities, with 2 billion more expected in the next 30 years.
Number 12. of United Nations Sustainable Development Goals is responsible consumption and production. The world is seriously off track in its effort to halve per capita food waste and losses by 2030. The COVID-19 pandemic has had significant impacts on consumption and production patterns, with disruption to global supply chains and changes in consumer behavior. Responsible consumption and production must be an integral part of the recovery from the pandemic. But the global economy also needs to speed up the decoupling of the economic growth from resource use by maximizing the socio-economic benefits of the resources, while minimizing it. Their negative impacts reporting on corporate sustainability has tripled. The private sector will need to significantly improve reporting on activities that contribute to the SDGs. To deliver SDG 12, it is crucial to implement policies that support the shift to the sustainable practices and decouple economic growth from the resource use. Targets 12.1. Implement the 10-year framework of the Programming on Sustainable Consumption and Production Patterns, all countries taking action, with developed countries taking the lead, taking into account that development and capabilities of developing countries. It reported that it has been decreased by 30% on the average of every year since 2019, and it continues to reflect great regional imbalances, with more than 50% of policy instrument reported from Europe and Central Asia. Next is climate action. The world is on the brink of a climate catastrophe, and current actions and plans to address the crisis are insufficient. Without transformative action, starting now and within this decade, to reduce greenhouse gas emissions deeply and rapidly in all sectors, target will be at risk with it the lives of more than 3 billion people. Failure to act leads to intensifying heat waves, drought, flooding, wildfires, sea level rise, and emission should already be decreased. A mere 7 years from now to combat climate change and its impact by 2030, urgent and transformative action is needed to meet the commitments under the Paris Agreements across mitigation and adaptation efforts. Its target: strengthening resilience and adaptive capacity to climate-related hazards and natural disasters in all countries. Second, integrate climate change measures into national policies, strategies, and planning. And last, improve education, awareness raising, and human institutional capacity on climate change mitigation, adaptation, impact reduction, and early warning. Number 14. Life below water. Destructive trends in ocean health have not abated. The ocean, the world's largest ecosystem, continues to be endangered by rising acidification, eutrophication, declining fish stocks, and mounting plastic pollution. While there has been some progress in expanding marine protected areas and combating illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing over the years, more concentrated efforts and acceleration are urgently needed. An urgent and coordinated global action is needed to continue to advance towards SDG 14. Then its target: by 2025, it will prevent, significantly reduce marine pollution of all kinds, in particular from land-based activities including marine, debris and nutrient pollution. Second, sustainably manage and protect marine and coastal ecosystem to avoid significant adverse impacts, including strengthening their resilience and take stringent action for their restoration in order to achieve healthy and productive oceans. 15. Life on land. The world is facing a triple planetary crisis of a climate change, pollution, and biodiversity loss. The trend in forest loss, land degradation, and the extinction of the species is becoming worse, posing a severe threat to the health of the planet and people. Goal 15 will not be met without a dramatic shift in our relationship with our natural environment. Its target: ensuring the conservation, restoration, and sustainable use of terrestrial and inland freshwater ecosystem and their services, and particular forests, wetlands, mountains, and drylands in line with obligations under international agreements. Second, promote the implementation of sustainable management of all types of forests, halt deforestation, restore the degraded forests, and substantially increase afforestation and reforestation globally. Next is 16. Peace, justice, and strong institution. Conflicts around the world are debating in global path to peace and achievement of SDG 16. 1/4 of humanity lives in conflict-affected areas, and as of May 2022, a record 100 million people had been forcibly displaced worldwide, more than double the number of decade ago. Citizens also face challenges accessing justice, basic services, or legal guarantees, and are generally underrepresented due to low institution policy. Moreover, structural injustices, inequalities, and emerging human rights challenges are putting peaceful and inclusive societies further out of reach. To meet SDG 16 by 2030, action is needed to restore trust and to strengthen the capacity of the institution to secure the justice for all and facilitate transition to drive the sustainable development. Its target is significantly reduce all forms of violence and related death rates everywhere. Second, end abuses, exploitation, trafficking, and all forms of violence against and torture of children. And last, promote the role of law at the national and international levels and ensure equal access to justice for all. The last goal of United Nations Sustainable Development Goals is partnership for the goals. So progress towards achieving SDG 17 has been mixed. On one hand, there have been some advances in areas such as development and remittances flows and access to technology. However, funding for development remains a major challenge, particularly in low-income countries. Additionally, geopolitical tension and the rise of nationalism in some parts of the world have made it more difficult to achieve the international cooperation and coordination. Many developing countries are battling record inflation, rising interest rates, and looming debt burdens. Competing priorities and limited fiscal space a major source of concerted action is needed to ensure that developing countries have access to the financing and technologies needed to accelerate the SDG implementation. So its target strengthening the domestic resource mobilization, including through international support, and second, develop countries to implement fully their official assistance and commitments, and last, mobilize, assist, and promote additional financial resources for developing countries from multiple sources.
What is the meaning of the Sustainable Development Goals? The Sustainable Development Goals, or the SDGs, are a set of 17 goals established by the United Nations in 2015. They aim to address various social, economic, and environmental challenges to achieve a more sustainable and equitable future by 2030. The goals cover areas such as poverty, hunger, health, education, gender equality, clean water, affordable and clean energy, climate action, and more. The idea is to promote development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. The Sustainable Development Goals, or the SDGs, aim to transform our world. They are a call to action to end poverty and inequality, protect the planet, and ensure that all people enjoy health, justice, and prosperity. It is critical that no one is left behind. Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, are a universal call to action adopted by United Nations or the UN member states in 2015. They are a set of 17 interconnected goals and 169 targets designed to promote peace and prosperity while protecting the planet.
So good day everyone. So I'm here to report the sustainable development goals of a particular country or world. So I'm going to discuss the important things. So securing economic development, social inequality, injustice, and environmental protection is a goal of sustainable development. Although these three factors can work in harmony, they are often found to conflict with one another. During the latter half of the 20th century, economic development for a better standard of living has been instrumental in damaging the environment. We are now in a position whereby we are consuming more resources than ever and polluting the earth with waste product. More recently, society has grown to realize that we cannot live in a healthy society or economy with so much poverty, environment degradation. So economic growth will remain the basis for human development, but it must change and become less environmental destructive. So the challenges of sustainable development is to put this understanding into practice, changing our unsuitable ways into more sustainable ones. So the aim of sustainable development is to balance our economic, environmental, and social needs, allowing prosperity for now and future generations. Sustainable development consists of a long-term integration approach to develop and achieving a healthy community by joining others' economic, environmental, and issue whilst avoiding the overconsumption of key resources. So, sustainable development encourages us to conserve and enhance our resources base by gradually changing the ways in which we develop and use technology. Countries must be allowed to meet their basic needs of employment, food, energy, water, and sanitation,
If there is to be done in a sustainable manner, then there is a definite need for a sustainable level of population. Economic growth should be supported and developed nations should be allowed a growth of equal quality to the development nation.